Hey everyone, Charlene here. Today I'm going to be sharing with you how to create a beautiful sky and water scene using some different shades of blue. I have here the Steady Water Stencils from Honeybee Stamps. This is a 2-layer stencil set, and you can see here it creates this beautiful sky area as well as some mountains, different layers of water, as well as a lake shore or a beach. I have 4 different shades here of blues that I'm going to be using in Distress Oxide. I've got Tumbled Glass and Salty Ocean, and then Faded Jeans and Prize Ribbon. So let's grab my sticky mat and get started. I like to work with a half sheet of cardstock when I'm stenciling. I find it gives me more options when I'm done and ready to cut down my finished panel. I'm going to start here with the stencil that has the larger openings, and I'll take this edge to edge on my cardstock. That way it stays stuck on the sticky mat on the right and the left hand side, but I still get that full panel area that I can color in. This bottom portion is where the water, the lake or the ocean is going to be, and then this top portion here is going to create the sky. So I'll start by grabbing some masking tape so that I can make sure to mask off the 2 portions. I have my tape here. I'll tape it along the line where the bottom of the mountain area is going to be. We'll do that later. And then I'll bring in those 2 lighter tones for the sky. I'm creating a daytime sky. If you want to switch this up and do a sunset or a sunrise, you're definitely going to want to use different colors, but for a midday or an afternoon kind of sky, these 2 blues work really well. And generally when you're looking at a sky during that time of the day, you're going to see that there's lighter tones towards the ground and darker tones up towards the atmosphere. So I'll grab my lighter color first, which is the Tumbled Glass. I'll get some ink here on my blending brush, and I'm going to blend it up about 2/3 of the way into the area that is the sky. So I'm coming up from what is the mountain area here and going about 2/3 of the way up, and I'm going to get a pretty good amount of ink on my cardstock. Once I'm happy with the amount of the Tumbled Glass, then I'll switch over here to the Salty Ocean. For the Salty Ocean, I'm doing the opposite. I'm going to bring it from the top coming down, blending it just slightly over halfway into that Tumbled Glass. As I'm using the Salty Ocean, I'm focusing the majority of the ink up towards the top portion, so that way it'll stay the darkest up towards the top and then get lighter as it blends into that Tumbled Glass. That way I can be sure to get a nice transitional shift from dark into the light going all the way down. I'm happy with that color, so I'm going to go ahead here and take off the masking tape and remove that, and then I can bring it across the top portion to make sure I don't get any ink up into that beautiful sky. Bringing in the Prize Ribbon and Faded Jeans now. These are more on the darker side of the blue spectrum. I'm going to start with the Prize Ribbon here, which is the darker of the 2 that I'm using. This is going to be the area that would be the deeper water. So I like to use my deeper watercolors up towards the horizon and my lighter colors down towards the foreground where you are. Wiping off my brush here, and I'll grab that Prize Ribbon then. I'm going to bring it from the top down about halfway, maybe a little over halfway onto my cardstock. There is a little small piece of stencil here. Now, if I wanted a defined line there, I probably would have used some kind of spray adhesive to hold my stencil down. I'm not really worried about what that finished area looks like, so that's moving around quite a bit as I add my ink. I think this looks pretty good. I've got a solid amount of the Prize Ribbon on there, so I'm going to bring in the Faded Jeans. And for the Faded Jeans, I'm going to start actually by going right over the whole area right here, instead of working my way up from the bottom, because I want the bottom portion to be the lightest portion. So I'm carefully working that faded jeans into the prize ribbon towards the top and bringing it down, fading it out as I go towards the bottom. I feel pretty good about that, so I'm going to remove my masking tape and then I can carefully peel away the first layer of this stencil here. I'll bring in the second layer of the stencil. I'm going to line that area up there that's going to create our mountains, so that way the opening lines up with the existing inking we did. Since we have the ability to add some fun details here into our water, I'm going to bring in a couple of different blues. It doesn't end up really mattering that much in the end. I'll start by masking off the mountains, masking off our beach or our land area down here. You could use one all over color here. I did bring in two different blues. I'm going to start with chipped sapphire. I have some post-it tape here on my fingers and I'm going to use that to help hold the stencil in place with my fingers and ensure I don't get any fingerprints in my ink at the same time. And I'll bring this chipped sapphire down from the top, filling in these extra areas. I can also go back and forth like this and do smaller circles. That'll help to reduce the amount that the stencil moves around on me as well. I've gone about halfway down here with the chipped sapphire. Now I'm going to bring in some Blueprint Sketch, which is a little bit lighter, almost a purpley kind of blue. I'm going to start by cleaning off my brush. And I kept things fairly light here, so I only put a little bit on my brush. You can always add more ink if you need to, but it's pretty much impossible to take ink away, so less is more. I'm pretty happy with that, what we've got on here, so I'm going to go ahead and remove the masking tape now from the shoreline area and remove my tape here from the mountain area. Then I can move the masking tape down to cover the lake portion, so that way just the mountain is exposed. I'm also going to move the tape up for the bottom so that way the shoreline is exposed. My masking tape was losing its stick, unfortunately, from the Distress Oxide, so I'm just going to grab a new piece here and place it. To create the mountains, I have a couple of reddish colored browns. I have aged mahogany and rusty hinge. So when you're doing a daytime mountain range, you want to have the lighter color of your mountains up towards the top and the darker color down towards the bottom, because that's where all the shading and valleys of the mountain kind of down towards the earth are going to be. So I've got some really small circles that I'm making with my brush with the aged mahogany from the bottom. Then once I have that aged mahogany on there, you can see there's still a light area up towards the top where it's almost white, and that's where I'm going to bring in the rusty hinge. That's going to kind of kiss the mountaintop and blend down into that aged mahogany. So I'll carefully bring it down from the top, making sure to start on the stencil so that way I can minimize any kind of like splotchiness or anything like that. And this is actually also going to color in the birds that are in the sky. So a brown works really well here, or even a black, and that would be great if you're doing an evening sky. So now you can see that nice blend we have. For our lakeshore, I'm continuing with the browns, but I'm going to use a little bit more of a yellow brown here with the brushed corduroy, and then a true brown with the vintage photo. I'm going to start by creating a darker base and then blending that into a lighter area up towards where it's meeting the water. So I'll start here with the brushed corduroy, which is that lighter color, bringing it from the top down, probably about 2/3 of the way, because I want to make my lakeshore have a fairly light look. And some of this will get cut off with the finished card. I'll bring in the vintage photo now and bring it up from the bottom, blending that into our brushed corduroy. I'm happy with that, so now I can go ahead and take off the masking tape. I did miss a little spot of the mountains there, so I'm going to put my tape just straight back down, no problem here, and grab some more of that aged mahogany. Okay, got that colored back in now, so I'll go ahead and remove the masking tape again, lift up my stencil here, and set this aside. This is going to continue to dry back and kind of lighten up as it dries. It's not fully dry yet, but it's dry enough now and for me to cut it out. So I have the third from largest rectangle die here. And I want to make sure that my birds are up towards left because they're going to get balanced by those two kind of details down there in the bottom right. And I'll die cut this out. here's our cutout piece, and I did decide I want some of these areas here to look like white caps. So I'm actually gonna bring back in my stencil and line it back up. I'm going to add some masking tape again and remask those mountains as well as the lakeshore. Don't be afraid to bring your stencils back in if you want to change some things. I've got some brilliant white pigment ink. I don't want to get my ink pad dirty with any blue color at all. So I'm going to smush out some of that white pigment ink here onto my work surface, and that's what I'll work with. Then I can pick up that pigment ink and just bring it right over. This is going to lighten up all of those areas. They'll still look blue, but they're going to have a little bit of a white tinge to them, which is going to make them look a little more natural, I feel like. So I was glad that I took the time to do this. If you want to experiment with different things here, you can even tap your brush in with some ink on it. That's going to give you an interesting effect. Also, a white embossing paste would look really great here. I'm going to go ahead and remove the stencil now, and you'll be able to see that difference, the little bit of white added with everything. And I'm going to dry this so that my pigment ink doesn't smear, and it's going to continue to lighten as it fully dries. But you see now that fun kind of white capped effect that we have on the background there. What goes better with water than a boat? I've got the lovely Layers boat here, and you can see this nice layering guide from Honeybee Stamps. So I'll start here by picking out some colors of cardstock. I have all my colors picked out. I'm going to start by cutting the main boat piece here out of ivory cardstock. I'll cut the first detail layer of the boat from red, and then the second detail layer from light blue. I'll cut the third detail layer of the boat from a dark navy, and then also the seats and fishing poles from the same dark navy. I'll cut this top roof area here from some gray cardstock as well as the motor. And lastly, I'll cut the cute little life preserver here from some orange cardstock. Then I've just got some liquid glue here, and I'm going to layer all of these together. This is super easy to layer. The base layers of the boat line up on top of each other right along the bottom of the boat. So I'll layer them here. I've got my first detail layer. Here is the second layer, then the third layer, and you can see this creates a fun stripe effect. This top detail here layers directly over the boat. Then I'll add the life preserver towards the front. The engine and the remaining details, these you can just glue back behind the boat. So for instance, this is where the engine goes. For the seats, I'm just adding a little dot of glue towards the bottom and then dropping the boat right over and picking them up. I'm not going to use the fishing poles yet. I'm going to set those aside. For my sentiment, I have the Great Man Stamps and Coordinating Dies. You have all of these wonderful sentiments. You've got dad, brother, father, grandpa, pops, papa, son. So many different options. Lots of things that then go with those. So I'm going to go ahead and stamp my sentiment out. I've got black pigment ink here. I'll ink up my stamp, then go ahead and flip and press and lift. Line these up and hold them in place now with some low-tack tape. Cut those out. Before I put everything together, I'm going to add glue to the back of the completed panel that we did with the stenciling and center it on an A2 size piece of white cardstock. So you can see that's going to give me a nice 1/4 of an inch white border all the way. And I wanted to point out how beautiful that fade is looking in those various blues and how much depth it creates. I'm going to add foam squares here to the back of my boat as well as to my sentiment. Then I like to lay everything out before I get started with placing things. It's really a good idea when you're placing things to make sure that everything looks cohesive. So here, if I took this boat and went up really high like that, it's not going to fit well with the sentiment. Instead, I want it to feel like it's part of that cluster. So go ahead and put my boat down, then put down To the Best and my dad. Then I can add glue here to the back of the completed panel and adhere it to an A2 sized card base. For my fishing poles, I just added a little bit of glue directly to the backs of these and tapped it off with my finger to make sure I don't get any glue that's kind of squishing out. Doing the same thing for the second one, adding glue, getting any excess off, and then tucking it in back behind there and gluing it to the background. So here is our fun finished card. We have all that beautiful blending with our blues. We've got that fun white cap from the pigment ink, and then our beautiful layered boat and our sentiment. I hope that you all picked up some tips and tricks today. Please be sure to like and subscribe, as well as hit that notification bell so that you'll know about future videos here on the Honeybee Stamps YouTube channel. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.